I never considered myself a man who thrived on chaos, yet somehow, chaos had a way of finding me in the sterile gray corridors of the office. My name is Ethan, and I worked in one of those mid-sized marketing firms where everyone smiled in the hallways, but sharpened their teeth behind closed doors. I thought I understood my coworkers, thought I knew where alliances ended and rivalries began, until the day Chloe walked into my life. Chloe was sharp, unnervingly perceptive, and carried the kind of confidence that made others shrink without knowing why. She joined our team as a consultant, her contract promising insight into client retention strategies. On paper, she was an asset, but from the first meeting, I noticed subtle things, the way she lingered over certain reports, the glances she threw at people when they weren't paying attention. Something about her didn't add up, and my curiosity, stubborn as ever, pulled me in. At first, it was professional. I started sharing ideas with her, watching her refine them, elevate them, and strangely, sometimes dismiss them as if testing me. And yet there was a pull, an unspoken tension that made the workday longer and the office coffee taste bitterly sweet. Then came the first shock. I discovered an email she'd sent, not to the client, but to a competitor's firm. It was subtle, masked as innocuous market research, but anyone reading closely could see the value she was siphoning. My heart sank. Was Chloe betraying the company, or was there another layer I couldn't see? I confronted her indirectly, passing off my suspicion as a question during a team meeting. She smiled, slow and knowing, as if she'd been expecting me. "Ethan, you have a way of seeing too much," she said, and I realized she'd guessed my thoughts without a word. That night, I stayed at my desk longer than usual, staring at spreadsheets, emails, and my own conflicted feelings. Then there was Mark, my colleague, a quiet, dependable man who had always been in the background of office dynamics, until suddenly he wasn't. One day, he cornered me by the copier, eyes wide, voice low. He'd discovered Chloe's manipulation. She hadn't been selling company secrets at all. She had been setting up a scenario to expose corruption higher up, in a subtle, almost surgical way. My perception of her shifted so violently, it made my chest ache. I had been ready to label her a traitor, when in fact she was untangling far bigger webs than I had imagined. By then, the tension between Chloe and me had grown into something impossible to define. I was drawn to her brilliance, her audacity, but also wary of the unpredictability she carried. And then came the final revelation. Mark had been playing his own game. His warnings, his alarms, his supposed concern, they had been carefully orchestrated to make me doubt Chloe, to push me into siding with him. He wanted her removed quietly, so he could ascend the office hierarchy without interference. It was a dangerous balancing act. I could expose Mark and risk a scandal that might shake the office, or I could step back and watch the manipulation continue. Chloe, of course, had already anticipated this. Without announcing it, she subtly repositioned documents, memos, and proposals, so that the final credit, the victory over the corrupt executive team, would land where it mattered most, on her terms, and quietly vindicate those she wanted protected. In the end, I found myself alone in the conference room, staring at the aftermath. Chloe had left a note on my keyboard. "Don't break it with fear." She vanished as quietly as she had arrived, leaving me to sift through the consequences of choices I thought I understood. Mark was exposed for his manipulations, and the office hierarchy shifted in unexpected ways. But the most profound lesson wasn't professional. I realized that in work and in relationships, people rarely are what they seem. Some betray out of fear, some out of ambition, and some, like Chloe, navigate a world of deception with a clarity few can comprehend. And the most important insight of all was the one I hadn't been prepared for. Watching carefully is one thing, but understanding motive and heart is what separates the blind from the truly aware. In the sterile gray corridors, life goes on, alliances shift, and hearts are tested. And I, more cautious but infinitely wiser, learned that trust is a currency far rarer than promotion or praise, and far more dangerous to spend carelessly. Morale. Understanding people is more valuable than understanding procedures. In work and life, perception is easily fooled, but insight into character saves both integrity and peace of mind.